Thanks for tuning in to this video weather briefing from the National Weather Service office in San Diego. This is meteorologist Alex Tardy. In this weather briefing, we're going to talk about the rain that is expected for this weekend. Much needed rain despite occurring over the weekend. And it won't be a total washout though for the weekend plans. Possibly a stronger storm and wetter storm could develop next week. So we'll be watching that closely. All right, here's a look at the storm track from the collection of American models averaged out. And you can see this weekend on Saturday, we're going to have a weak storm coming through. It's coming directly from the west. So what that means is the storm has more moisture, as shown on the right here, and a rather weak but a notable atmospheric river pointing towards southern California. The main problem is the storm is weak, as noted. It's very flat, no amplitude, very little cold air, so snow levels will be very high. And it'll be fast moving as it treks through west to east Saturday afternoon and Sunday morning. Next week, however, we look to see a stronger weather pattern and a little bit colder and deeper storm that slowly sets up across the west coast. And that too could tap into an atmospheric river as shown on the right. The difference with this storm will be the colder nature of it and the more persistent and more dynamic trough of low pressure setting up across the west. So in other words, more prolonged period of precipitation that could be heavier. So we'll be watching that closely as the weather models continue to develop for this event next week. All right, how about this coming weekend? Well, it looks like the storm system's going to move through, and we expect most of the rain to be Saturday afternoon and Saturday night. A little bit of rain lingering early Sunday morning. Everyone should see a little bit of rain, even a light amount of rain spilling over to the deserts. In San Diego County, look for 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little over a 1/2 inch at Palomar Mountain. Now in Orange County, they'll do a little bit better and look for about 1/4 to 1/2 inch most locations of Orange County as shown here. Now when we get into the Inland Empire, around 1/4 of an inch, and the San Bernardino Mountains, they'll have the most precipitation out of this storm, with localized amounts around 1 inch or a little bit more, especially in the area near Yucaipa Ridge and where it meets up with the San Gabriel Mountains. Now spilling over to the high deserts, again, maybe 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch. So not a lot of rain, but at least a widespread wetting, much needed rainfall. The snow levels that we're looking at are going to be above 7,500 feet, so unfortunately little snow except for on the highest peaks. Here's the impact and threat table that we expect. We'll look at two different storm systems here. First, for storm number 1, we do expect widespread precipitation, but mostly light for Saturday afternoon and Sunday morning early, except for the Orange and San Bernardino Mountain coastal slopes that could see rainfall up to around 1 inch. Unfortunately, snow levels will be high, above 7,500 feet, so just above the ski areas and over the higher peaks. The timing, again, is Saturday afternoon and Sunday. Could spoil some of your outdoor activities Saturday afternoon and evening. Now, as we see on the threat level map here, it's all in the minor category. We do expect rainfall, so roads will be wet over the weekend, especially Saturday afternoon and evening, but very little snow or threat for flooding. Now, storm number 2, we got to keep an eye on that one. That one could be stronger and wetter possibly next week, bring lower snow levels eventually as an upper level trough sets up on the west coast. Could also bring significant precipitation to central southern California. That's in the time frame of Wednesday through Friday, March 14th through 16th. This is the outlook period that we're talking about with storm number 2. So confidence is pretty high for above normal precipitation as shown here, greater than 70%, for a good chunk, the heart of central and then moving down into southwest California. This will also bring cooler conditions, which we have been seeing lately across the west. So this is a storm to keep an eye on. This would be storm number 2 of next week. Now I mentioned that the precipitation this upcoming weekend is much needed. Take a look at this map. We're still looking at precipitation deficits across the west, especially central and southern California. And in most cases, we've only seen about 25% to as much as 40% of what we should so far for this wet season, as shown in the bright red. Now, we have seen some beneficial snows and precipitation across the Sierra Nevada, but that region too is about half of what it should receive for the whole wet season and still running considerably below normal, as you can see on this map, and nowhere close to the record wet year of last year, but at least above the record dry year. Now, most importantly, the snowpack in the mountain range, the Sierra Nevada, north all the way down to south. Recent snowfall was very significant and measured in feet, but in terms of the water content, it wasn't that impressive. And that area still is only 30 to 40% of where it should be, so less than half. You can see now we're running above our driest or least snow years of the past, but we're still running much below where it should be this time of year. Thanks for tuning into this latest video weather briefing. You can get updates at weather.gov/San Diego. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter. And of course, this YouTube video is published for your convenience. Thanks, everyone.